This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good yawning this morning. Welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. It is Monday, the 22nd of January, 2024, and it's my pleasure to be with you as we enter the 6th week of January. It's been a long one. We still have a week plus to go, but we're going to make it out of January. Yes, we will. Welcome to On the Clock. On the Clock, we engage organizations, institutions, social and cultural leaders, and ordinary people to better understand the impact of public policy, private sector development, and emerging social and consumer trends. On the Clock, we have conversations that help us understand and navigate a rapidly changing Bahamas. Today, On the Clock, we invite you to call in and share your thoughts on this question. How many of your rights are you prepared to give up for the sake of democracy? How much of your freedoms, how many of your rights are you prepared to give up to play your role in a democracy? Numbers to call 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. For our Family Island residents, 242-300-5720. I'm hoping to have join us this morning Mr. Stephen A. Burrows from the Public Service. Mr. Burrows ran as leader of a team, I think it's the Power Team, during the most recent BPSU elections. I'm hoping that he can make his way to the station this morning. Well, let's get the show started. We're giving away sand dollars again. Every week, 6 listeners can win 30 digital Bahamian dollars if they get the correct answer and have a digital wallet. When you call in, give the producer your name and cell number and wallet provider. Include wallet provider and custom name in texts. Download a digital wallet right now because every Tuesday and Thursday you can be a winner. The Sand Dollar merchant list is growing. If you're looking for more places to spend a digital Bahamian dollar, visit sanddollar.bs/merchant list to view a list of verified merchants in New Providence, Grand Bahama, and the Family Islands. If you're a business owner and you'd like to join the Sand Dollar merchant list, contact 302-9880 or sdau@centralbankbahamas.com. And another notice, calling all Hannah Hasty Tynes Family Association General Meeting for January will be held this Thursday, the 25th of January, at St. John's College at 6 p.m. Again, the HHT Family Association General Meeting for January will be held this Thursday, the 25th of January, at St. John's College at 6 p.m. Mr. Nuri, good morning. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Good morning. I'm interested in your topic, even interested in seeing the union representative to come and talk about that. But I see you having another Hannah Hasty Tynes meeting.
Yes.
I've been invited to this meeting.
Yes.
I'm trying to make it out on that Thursday. But what y'all talk about so? Why y'all have so much meetings?
So we're planning the 2024 family reunion.
So that's happening this year?
That's happening this year, August 1st through 5th. August 1st through 5th is the return of the HHT family reunion in New Providence this year.
How big is the event? Is this like a small get-together? What is
No, man. Well, I'm hoping it's going to be the biggest ever as we return after a number of years being unable to host the event because of the COVID pandemic. So we're hoping it's going to be great. We get family members come in typically from the United States of America.
Oh, so Americans coming down?
We got some, but we have family in America
Okay.
who come down to connect with the family. We got family, I'm sure, coming from England. I hope one or two cousins come from Africa, maybe from Canada, maybe from South America, from the family islands. Sometimes they've held it in Grand Bahama. They've held it in the United States of America as well, the family reunion. So we're hoping to do it up big this year, man. I
just recently come across this Andros Hannah lady who wanted to know how the Hannahs got in Andros. Does your union have information on that? Yeah,
we're going to have information on that. We're going to have the family historians will be available to talk family history. There will be family trees available. We're intending on showing at least one documentary.
Oh, they have documentary too?
Right? Like a part one on the HHT family. So we're going to have paraphernalia. Come get your T-shirt. Let us know if you're a Hannah Hasty or Tynes. And I think one of the most exciting conversations is, which one is you? Are you two or are you three? Are you all Hannah? Are you Hannah Hasty? Are you Hannah Hasty and Tynes? Are you Hasty and Tynes?
What if, like, I'm a Hannah descendant, but I don't know how I'm related to everyone else? Can I bring my own family tree and say, this is me?
Oh, without a doubt. In fact, we're asking people to bring as much family paraphernalia, regalia, history, documentation, pictures, notes, letters. If you can't travel with them, what you do, you take a picture of it and document it, right? But take a picture of it, label it, and send it to us.
And see, I ask so much questions because I know I'm supposed to be coming, right? Forgive me.
Yeah.
Since you bring it up, I said, let me ask, right?
I could be honest with you. I try to adopt you. I mean, I know you as a part of the family, which is why you come in.
As a distant cousin.
But I try to adopt you as a closer cousin. Like a Christmas, call me over for Christmas dinner cousin.
I mean, I like food, especially food free. In terms of getting in contact with you all, I see you always saying, come to the meeting. I always ignoring you. When you say, come to the meeting this Thursday, you say?
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of contacting you all in general, say, well, I want to communicate so I can start getting my information, whatever it is. How do I get it? Is there any social media type of stuff?
Okay, so you could find us on Facebook. There's a Hannah Hasty Tynes family group on Facebook. The profile picture is the crest of the family association, right? The family crest. And you can join the group. You'll be added. Answer the questions, right? So get some questions to ask you about family connections. Help us connect you to your family as well. And just say, hey, I'm HHT. You could send a message to the admin if you don't want to post your cell phone number in the group. Send a message to the admin to say, can you add me to the various WhatsApp groups?
Oh, you have WhatsApp groups?
Right, so there's like a family WhatsApp group where people talk, they engage, they share family news. They say, hey, we've had a death in the family, or we've had a birth in the family, we've had a graduation. Oh, look here, my daughter, my granddaughter. The sweetest ones are my great-great-grandchildren doing big things, right? We share information like that. Then there's a broadcast group, right, which is just for reunion and association news. We don't want to inundate people's phones with tons of messages. So that WhatsApp group is specifically for sharing reunion and association news. And so we've got a number of ways to communicate with the association, with the executive committee of the association, and then with family members generally. And I find that people just love connecting with their cousins. Just being able to say, hey, catching up on news in a very sort of informal way.
And y'all tend to be bright-skinned people. I blue black. So if I'm a blue black Hannah Hasty and Tynes.
Use a Hannah Hasty Tynes.
And I think I descended from the slave set. The slave Hannah Hasty and Tynes. Can I get information about the slave set? I want to hear about the Conky Joe people.
Yes, man.
Yeah, so there's a slave narrative or enslaved narrative of black people instead of just the loyalist descendant information. I just want to ask.
Right.
I Pan-African-ish, so I got to ask
no, man,
Pan-African stuff.
I appreciate it. I appreciate, as an association, you don't know what family wants to know. You don't know what's important to, the other members of the family. Our historians are, thorough. They have a really good collection of data, documentation, stories, knowledge, and family lines.
Once upon a time, I finished now because I've been going off topic. So forgive me for this, right? There was a website. Your website still exists? I mean, you all had a website before. I remember finding information about Hannah Hasty and Tynes on a website.
No, the website has to be updated.
Okay.
I mean, it needs a tremendous update. And in this reconvening process, we are attempting to make sure that all the information that we have is correct, to gather new information, and to ensure that, at the very least, people trust that no one has been left out intentionally. It's a long-term process of not just gathering the information, reconciling it, and then entrenching it properly in the family history. We don't want it to be trivial. We don't want people to feel like they've been left out. And so it's a task. It's a job, right? Historian and genealogists, and these are jobs. And so we want to ensure that we do it properly.
Okay, last question, because we got to go start that topic.
Yeah.
So you say 4 days?
Yeah, first to the fifth.
First to 5 days?
Yeah.
Right? So at least there'll be a meet and greet.
Right, so we're going to
Is there
start...
like any kind of registration that I
so,
can get? Okay.
So we're going to start with the meet and greet, I think, on the Thursday. If you're local, right? If you don't register pre-hand, there's a space where you could come in and say...
Last minute.
Right. I just get time off work.
Yeah.
I just get approved. You can come out to the meet and greet and register. You can register for the whole package. We encourage everybody to register for the whole package. We got
Because my last name is Nuri, ain't Hannah, or Hasty, or Time. So it's people like me who have different last names, but you know that you're as a family member. That's the set you're looking for too.
Oh, without a doubt. In fact, those are the people we need most, right? If you think use HHT, but you ain't sure, come out and find out. Don't let this tradition of taking the father's last name disconnect you from your family ties.
My great-great-Grammy was a Hannah. I just said, no.
Yeah, no. It's about 12 mosquitoes and Aucklands write me every other month. Say, when y'all send a Nuri down, we remember that blood. We remember that blood. Mr. Nuri, thank you very much.
Okay. Let's go back to the topic now, man.
So listen, the numbers to call 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, and for our Family Island residents, 242-300-5720. Okay. How many of your rights and freedoms are you prepared to give up for safety, security, to live in a democracy? I'm going to start. We got some texts came in. Ms. Greene, crime issue. We have an issue that plagues this country from the top where the politicians sit, no freedom of information and no campaign finance law. Both parties have been engaged in employing criminals who are out on bail. Okay, so watch this. You can't say they are criminal if they're out on bail.
They're innocent until proven guilty?
Right, because they're innocent until proven guilty.
Man, if they charge you, you're guilty, man.
No, that's not how the law works. That's just not how it works.
If they walk you on that Parliament Street shuffle, you're guilty.
See, there's a perception of guilt, right? And that's what we have to be very concerned about. It is a perception of guilt socially that just does not align with our legal system. The text goes on, these persons are given contracts for painting of buildings and other work for votes as the employing person from the over-the-hill communities in support for votes. Texter, so watch this. People need to work. People need to work, right? People who are out on bail need to work. And so we can't just assign some kind of villainy to the fact that politicians, members of political parties are hiring people who are on bail or who have been convicted of a crime. Imagine those people have tremendous difficulty finding work generally. And so here is an institution that can provide them work and should be able to provide a structure that helps them to maintain the road they need to walk on. It's a very interesting text. The politician has helped to create the problem, and that is a part of the reason you see a lack of engagement and resolve. They are too familiar. Okay, so I feel you there. Politicians hiring people on bail or hiring people who have been convicted of crimes should be able to do so through a system, right? We should have a system that enables people who are marginalized from employment because they are on bail or because they have been convicted of a crime to be able to access work. Because one thing is certain, people have to work. They have to generate funds to employ themselves. Let's go, I want to say thank you. Texter, let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Ms. Greene and Brother Neri, I hope you're doing well and good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
In answer to your question, I am not prepared to give up any freedoms entrenched in the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas for anything.
Even to stop crime, though?
No. We already have sufficient laws in place to deal with violators of criminal activity in all areas. I do not think it is fair to me, as a law-abiding citizen of this country, that my rights should be arbitrarily taken away from me. That's why they're so entrenched in the Constitution.
But, Professor, the Prime Minister is asking for your leisure in order to make sure we curb this crime. The Prime Minister asks a favor for the Bahamian people?
No, he's wrong in doing that. He has constitutional powers to deal with those who violate the law. Why should I suffer? Why should I have to give up comforts that my mother and father fought so hard to give me, and my grandparents before them, because some other personalities out there decide to violate the law? The Constitution is designed to protect the interests of the Bahamian people, not for a government or a prime minister or any minister for that matter to ask law-abiding citizens to give up constitutional rights, entrenched constitutional rights? No, sir. Under no circumstances.
But you notice that after the Prime Minister spoke, there was no uproar, right? There was no uproar. There's the House of Assembly is filled with lawyers. Lawyers, KCs, the most KCs ever, who should know better. Not one of them say a word. We are prepared to allow the Prime Minister to do what he got to do in order to curb crime.
No, but Signori, that is them, you know. That's not the citizenry out there. See, the fact that people do not fully understand the power of the Constitution. That's why I push so hard, as I will be doing today, to get people to understand the value of this most valuable document. You don't want to be like Sudan, you know. I understand the fellow going to Uganda.
Yes, sir.
So I'm saying to
Yes,
you,
sir.
when you look at the state of affairs in those nations, they're struggling with democracy. We've had it from 1729, right on up to now, almost 300 years of solid changes in the government of the Bahamas. I'm not saying it's perfect.
Yes.
But we have this stability. We don't want no fella coming around talking about giving up rights. You saw what has happened to many nations around the world. When we sit so quietly, they are going to take away everything from... You know how they like to try to get rid of this Constitution? Not over Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson's dead body. No, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Let's go to the next caller. Good morning, caller.
How you doing, bro?
I'm good. Thank you, sir. How are you?
Well, are we still discussing the crime issue?
We are, but the question that I framed, the framing of the conversation is how many of your rights, how much of your freedom are you prepared to abdicate, to give up for the sake of democracy, for the sake of an attempt to
Curb crime.
curb crime?
But it's a democracy.
Ah, good question. Is democracy the same thing as curbing crime?
No. If you want to go about rights, we are talking about a form of socialism.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I've been in my group over the weekend. We were the issue of crime, especially the upsurge that we are seeing now, right?
Mm-hmm.
When something happens of this magnitude, it's usually a generational concern.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it usually has its genesis in a generation, say approximately like 40 years before.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Now, if we go back to that, we check our calendar and we see what happened. I guess between 1980 and 1985
Mm-hmm.
in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And two significant things happened. One was the social promotion program was brought into our schools.
Yes.
Where folks were just passed on into classes and didn't have to, I guess, do work as such.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, and in the midst of that, we had that Iran-Contra thing where drugs were shipped through our country by choice, by the choice of a major government. Now, when you have a bunch of young people coming out of school in the 80s who are employable,
Mm-hmm.
and you mix that with the environment that was created by the drug culture.
Okay. Yes.
A whole generation half a generation at least, who didn't see a need to work.
I understand.
Now,
And we're reaping the rewards of our active our behavior, our actions, and our lack of actions, he's saying, about 4 years ago.
It goes deeper than that. Those persons coming out of school in that time period are now fathers,
Mothers and some of grandparents.
Yes,
sir.
And you see where, like, when crime happens in this country, it's a very distinct demographic. Okay? Most of the persons who are getting killed know who is shooting them or who is shooting at them.
I understand.
So let's consider that. And thank you very much for your call, because we have a number of calls here. But I want to read this text and go to the next call.
Absolutely.
If I may, Erin. It says, I agree with Mr. Sidney. I get the impression that because the PM and his hand-picked commissioner were unwilling to enforce simple laws and ethical standards leading us to this absolute chaos, they are now saying we are going to enforce some restrictions on people we know will obey the law, or so it will appear like we doing something.
I mean, that's sort of the sentiment that I share, that, listen, before you intrude on the Constitution, try and enforce the ordinary legislation that you have available to you. Good morning, caller. Please turn down your radio.
Erin and CA, good morning to both of you.
Morning.
I've been listening to this conversation with this crime spree that's been going on over the past, since this new year came in. And, it is sad to say that despite the fact that we have many persons commenting on this, on the local airwaves, on solutions on how to curb this thing, we should be looking at the crux of basically why these things are happening and who potentially could be assisting in having this matter exacerbated to the point that it is. We are always focused on the small man on the bottom of the ladder. First and foremost, the question is, with all of the intelligence that they have said that they have collected, I have yet to hear anyone say that they're going to do raids in these gated communities specifically, and I'm going to be very deliberate here. We have protected areas, Port New Providence, Lightfoot Key, Old Fort Bay, and even right down to these Haitian sloops that come into this country. Now, we want to be very sensitive about this conversation, but we have to be very serious and deliberate about this conversation. There was a voice note no longer than a couple of days ago circulating online where a person purporting to be a Haitian national actually told us that his brothers, his cousins are part of gangs in Haiti, and they are importing weapons in this country on the boats and everything, and our police force, our prime minister, and everybody else think that they have a crisis on their hands right now. They don't know what's coming. And that voice note is, I could send you the voice note. It is very troubling. We need to stop pussyfooting around with this thing and get very serious. You know, we are focused on the small man all the time. It's always the small man on the bottom. Where that is the focal point. Yes.
Before you go,
let me just say this here very quickly here. The citizenry here is in desperation mode. We cannot dismiss it. The way our things are running in this country, and just about every citizen on the bottom here is in desperation mode. You think this thing is going to get any better?
Not without a concerted effort. Thank you very much.
Send
Jeff.
that voice note to the Commissioner of Police, that crime watch line.
I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to send it to you as well. Okay? So you can hear this. This thing is very serious. This puts every Bahamian life
Let's make sure
on the line.
I want you to send it to the police.
Let's make sure we send it to the Commissioner of Police's office as well. Jeff. Thank you.
There's trace those WhatsApp thing, man. I ain't going to get my name in that.
Good morning, caller.
That's scary. Go ahead, caller. How you hearing? I gotta just read this text. So, good morning. I'm ready to be back on those minutes lockdowns for a better Bahamas. I'll go to the food store in alphabetical order again. Never. These criminals are out of order. These new criminals have no regards to even women and children, man. I ain't going to do no more minutes lockdown, though.
No. Let me go to this caller.
Yeah, man.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning. You asked a very important question.
Thank you.
I think you may want to consider expanding it a bit more and ask how much rights our authorities are willing to give up. Let me tell you why I say
Okay.
that. The FBI have been using tap and trace for years, from the 70s, I can remember, where they're able to, of course, listen to your conversation, no matter how well you have it coded, and run a code and figure out exactly what you're saying. We could even go further. We are now in the era of Gemini era, the AI technology, which is, they're more intelligent than every human being collectively put together on this planet. You have one. And Gemini is built with sentiment analysis. So it can track you and determine your movements that you're planning to do. But, I don't think the authorities would want that to be in my hand, because I might be able to tell their husbands and wives what they're up to. But the sports shorter, why can't we link that to a satellite transponder? So when it goes off, we can zoom in, because we can see your license plate from the sky, and we can track you. The technology is here, but this ankle bracelet foolishness that we're using is just something for someone else to probably give some money and share with their friends. If we were really serious about this country, we would link the technology that's available to find these criminals before they even commit the crime. But we're not serious. We're more concerned about what we do reactively and let the court system make some money, because the courts, they banks. And we need people to pay fines and all them other things to keep the country going. So I think we'll be in this cycle forever, because we have leaders who are not tapping in to the technology. Elon Musk could tell you better than I could about this.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I have another text says, we have an issue that plagues this country from the top, where the politicians set no freedom of information and no campaign finance reform. Both parties have been engaged in employing former criminals who are out on bail for guns and involved in crime. These persons are given contracts for painting of buildings and other work for votes as the employing person from over the hill communities in support for votes. But the backside of this is that the same contract money is in turn used to support their criminal operations. The politicians as help to create the problem, and that is part of the reason.
So what I'm saying is, a political party should not be hiring these people. A national system, employment system, should be set up so that people can go, say, like the NTA, the National Training Agency, should have another unit where people who are marginalized from employment because they're on bail or they've been convicted of a crime prior can go in and say, I need to work. That unit or agency should place people in businesses or with employers who are willing to employ them.
If I'm a former criminal, reform criminal. You're trying to say I can't get contract to do side roads?
No, your MP should not give you a job.
My MP should
you
not give me a
should
job?
go through a system that ensures that anybody...
I can't get a job at Ministry of Works?
Listen, you could get a job at Ministry of Works, but you don't get it from your MP. You don't get it from the political party. You get it by participating in a standalone program that assigns you to employers that are willing to hire you.
What about the MP contracts like cleaning the sidewalk? They have contracts to give out. That's a job. MPs have jobs to give out.
Right, they do have jobs to give out, but those jobs are given to people who operate companies.
Yeah, I get
a person that operates a company when they out on bail, they could still operate their company. We're talking about people who are marginalized from employment. Let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Okay, I'm fine. I'd like to make a suggestion and hear your opinion.
Yes, sir.
I'm of the opinion, if you want to get rid of crime and get more knowledge of what is going on the street, why don't we offer some big money for these things? Like, money is the root of all evil, and money will help curb some of this evil.
Okay.
The government takes money to do all sorts of things, and all they're doing is giving lip service on the crime problem. Put some money behind it. Offer rewards. Offer $20,000-$30,000 on some of these things, and you'll be surprised to see how these things may slow down. Some people, mother and father, talk on them.
Okay. If money is the incentive, let's use the incentive to our advantage.
Yeah, because lip service is not working. You could tell these fellas all you want. You coming for them, you this, you the next thing, and they figure they can still outsmart you. But if people see things and see money and guns and know you all offer it, maybe offering big money for it, for the information, these things will slow down.
It's a consideration. Thank you very much, caller. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for your contribution. Let's go to the next caller. Good morning, caller.
Erin, I'm back again.
Yes.
Listen, if there's a WhatsApp page or Facebook page, let me know so I can send this voice note. But CA, I sent it to you so you and Erin can hear this voice note during the break to see how serious this young man speaking. It sounds like he really got some real good intelligence of what's really going on. But I sent it to you already, CA. Listen to it. But if the police has a Facebook page or whatever, or WhatsApp in particular, because it's on WhatsApp, I could easily send it to them. No problem.
Okay, I will.
You know my phone tap, right?
Right. So Cecil's saying from you send it to him, they get it.
They get that.
Thank you very much, caller. Let's go to the
This
next
one say
caller.
amend the Bail Act. Yeah.
Good morning, caller.
I like the Bail Act.
Good morning, Ms. Greene, and good morning, Mr. Nuri.
Good morning, 52.
I've been pulled into this conversation, right?
Okay.
Because I'm hearing people who are not familiar with the streets standing on the periphery, trying to get a panoramic view of what's going on, right?
Okay.
So I don't know if you listen to Scoozy. So I call Scoozy often, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of big you up on the show because I like the way you think.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're able to sense common narratives like known to the police, right?
Yes.
Without differentiating violent or non-violent. So here's what's going on, right? This is aphorism here. The gentleman who called and mentioned technology. So there's many different ways we can use technology to impede crime. And so Operation Lockstep gave you that idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens now, Ms. Green, biometrics, et cetera, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what happened is 50 years of neglect, he creates the 17 murders in 1 month. So this has been proliferating for so long until the cat is out of the bag. They know they can't really control human behavior. So I can understand the frustration of the police, right? But we have to be realistic here. So the question you asked initially at the beginning of the show was, am I willing to have any of my rights taken away or abrogated? Mm-hmm. I already don't have no rights, Miss Greene. So why should I be willing to be constricted more? And so the question then becomes the inequalities of justice and dispensing of justice to each, whatever. Now, we know that we are fighting a losing battle because we're caught between a rock and a hard place. We have people hypothesizing about where the guns are coming from. We know where they're coming from. They're coming from the States. They're coming from Haiti. So if the Prime Minister knows, it's certain other little ordinances that can be passed that can impede crime. But we are being affixed on murder because it breeds fear. So now, as we speak, even if someone in the high school chat, I was trying to show them, they're being very naive. All right, let's say you want to talk with the gang leaders. Yes, send the pastors in, talk to them, way. But what you have to understand is all of these murders are not gang-related. The gang leaders will catch all of the heat because they say they would control the respective area. This is not like Jamaica. Even the young guys are not loyal. So as we speak, they have gangs with no names. because you guys don't know. You're not in the city. They have gangs with no names. You have 20, 30 guys together. Now, they're affiliated. They're not loyal to anybody. They're incorrigible. Just like how you have factions. You saw they segmented themselves. So you have no loyalty here. And this is not organized like how people think, but it's organized enough to wreak havoc. And they learn the system. And then the problem is compounded by the fact that you're not acknowledging that gangs are in government entities. And so we keep denying it. So even if you was thinking about abrogating people's rights, right, then you should move forward with disclosing misconducts by the police. And because I was surprised to learn that a state officer is still under force. Let's put it that way.
I got you.
The gentleman who Jeff talking about, we send you the voice note. That gentleman is discussing nothing new. I'm 59 years old, and Scoozy's a bit younger. There's nothing new that I haven't seen, okay? It's only the high society people who tend to believe. See, in order to fight justice, you have to do some cleansing first.
Yes.
And so this is a perpetual... all right, if someone else I see some text to criticize the other day, say, all these people calling, they don't give a solution to crime. Ms. Greene, why should they call and give a solution to crime publicly when they could be killed for it? Even from on both sides. So there's no solution for crime. There's only a solution for the impediment of crime, because we have to become a fix on murder. But we have to realize in common sense, if somebody like thieving, you might say, oh, it's frivolous. I mean, right? But thieving could result in murder. Committing adultery could result in murder. You have to understand the ecosystem of crime. So tell them these conversations are meaningless, man.
Thank you very much.
They might just pay me to be a consultant.
Yeah, they should pay you to be a consultant.
They should. And you should begin documenting your experiential and institutional knowledge as well, 52.
Say, good morning, Erin. 15 years ago, while working in law enforcement, we had an intel on a pleasure vessel arriving at Lifer Key with weapons. The operation was botched due to agency bureaucracy. Nevertheless, the vessel was stopped after offload as... Yeah, the point is they're saying they have weapons on these high-end boats.
Yeah. We know that there's a great concern about contraband entering undermanned ports. Caller, I apologize. My finger was right on the button. Producer, let's go to a break. It's a great time to go to a break. When we get back from the break, I want to actually mention the articles that evoked this question and conversation for me.
Have traffic and get on a roadblock for life. Like they have constant roadblocks, and because it can't be like for 6 months. It got to be for a longer period of time for life. I'm prepared to do that. Give up that right.
You prepared? Don't know when you can get to it.
Yeah, don't know.
Just tell the boss, look here, I can be
reach
there
when I reach.
Maybe tomorrow.
I in traffic.
But it's still 2024.
They stop in every car.
There you go.
I'm prepared.
Let's go to a break. Please stay tuned. Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We'll be on the clock in a moment.
Always on the go? Missed the show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Good morning and welcome back to On the Clock with Erin Greene. Mr. Nuri is joining me this morning. I'm so glad you stayed tuned to 96.9 FM. So the question on the table is, how many of your rights, how much of your freedom are you prepared to give up to curb crime? But as the Minister of National Security put it, detention is price we pay for living in a democracy. In fact, I want to read from that article quickly. Detention is price we pay. Monroe says wrongful identification and arrest a potential inconvenience. National Security Minister Wayne Monroe said, though facial recognition CCTVs may wrongly identify someone as a criminal, being arrested on suspicion and being held up to 48 hours is part of the price we pay for living in a free, democratic, orderly society.
I'm prepared to be detained for 3, 4, 5 days because, I look like Darren Cash. I look like my cousin Kamal.
Yeah.
I look like my cousin Collie. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm sure they all are prepared to be detained, especially Darren Cash.
Is your boss prepared for you to be detained?
I'm sure the government will compensate me if I'm the wrong person. You can't just lock me up and expect me to just go to the job and say I get fired. You can detain me for 3-4 days, but compensate me. No? They ain't compensate me?
I don't think so.
You just gonna hold me there for 48 hours and by mistake?
Right. Let me go to the callers. Callers, I see you there. I won't get into this. I see you there. Come into the callers. Good morning. Let's go to this caller. Good morning, caller.
Hello.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Miss Greene. How y'all doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
They said they do a woman get killed in a drive-by or something.
In the front of today's Guardian, 3 more murders. Woman is latest victim. I'll read from the article for you. The killing spree that has gripped New Providence in recent weeks continued on the weekend, with a woman shot dead in Baintown last night and a man murdered in a double shooting in Pinewood Gardens that left another man in critical condition in hospital, police said. Regarding the latest incident, police said a woman who was in her mid-20s was standing at the intersection of South Street and Hospital Lane when she was shot. Officers on patrol in the area saw a small blue car speeding away. They chased it, but the driver escaped.
So it ain't like they were shooting at someone that they shoot a woman.
I'm not sure. Maybe it could be a case of mistaken identity, possibly, but...
intentionally to take a life.
Yeah, it does not, from what I read just now, it does not appear that she was an innocent bystander in that sense. Mm-hmm. It may be that it was mistaken identity.
Okay.
I'm hoping
that's sad.
Yeah.
Any life getting taken is sad. But you know, they were saying something about these bunch of CC cameras that we have all over the
CCTV
place.
cameras,
They're
yes, sir.
suggesting that we could help by linking them into our feed or be able to get what's ever happening. How you feel about that? Why I ask that, right? Is because could the police use the information, how do we say it, on the people who providing the service? Like,
right. For instance, I give you...
We use your CC cameras and we catch you doing something the way we see you doing something. Can we come there and bring charges on you and go to court?
It depends on how the legislation is written, right?
But they could have fixed that so people could understand, and I guess they'll be more helpful.
Right. There are 2 options. One option is I identify myself as a camera owner in the area, so that if something happens, you know that you can come to me and request access to footage over a specific time period.
Yeah, I think that's priceless if you do it. Like how you said, to pay for security service to be monitoring your business or your place, I think it's priceless. And for the police to suggest for you to do it, and you should take advantage of it because, I mean, we always say the police can't be everywhere, but the question is, would the police be able to use the information they get
for
off
other matters, right? So
no other matters against you.
Right. This is what I'm saying, Papa. Uh-huh. There are two instances, right? One is I register as a camera owner, and if an issue arises, then you can request either directly to me or with a court order. You request access to my camera footage. The second model would be that I register as a camera owner and I give you access to my feed, remote access to my feed, so you could pull it up at any time and look at it. Those are 2 separate situations.
And no permission to use it against me? Could that be in law?
Well, this is it. How would we write the legislation? Because if the police see a crime, they're obligated to deal with it. You see what I'm saying?
That's why some people might be hesitant, but you be a little more safer if you work with the police like that. And if we say we're law-abiding citizens, you'd be more safer to do it like that. But
let's put that on the side. I think what people are more concerned about is not that, hey, I'm going to be necessarily committing a crime on my property and I don't want the police to know. It's...
Sometimes we break the law without even knowing. You know, we throw things on the ground, we litter. I mean, not on your own property, but I mean, just simple as something, anyhow.
And that's the premise of the question today, right? How much of your right, how much of your freedom, how many of your rights?
Yeah, that's what we need to think. That's a pill there you need to swallow. That's a good one right there to think about. To assist. But tell me something you're going to be able to find out anytime about, because some of us don't believe on law-abiding adults being able to carry arms. So I still try.
Boy, you know what?
How much guns was issued to persons out here since it was brought up in Parliament. I don't want to say the criminals, right?
No, but just people in general.
People out here. How much guns was issued, and should it be public to know the names of these persons? I'll hang up and listen. Thanks.
Wow, and the security issues that arise with that. I'm going to have to invite Mr. Gamal Nuri on the show to kind of guide us in that conversation, Papa. Those are some great questions.
The text says the politicians know these crooks. They show up at these murder scenes and cry for known criminals. I complained about that today.
Yes.
Yeah.
In a small island developing state where conflicts of interest cannot be avoided, we need to create mechanisms and enforce them to manage publicly conflicts of interest. Caller, give me a second. I want to read from this article. Detention is price we pay. Monroe says wrongful identification and arrest a potential inconvenience. Quote from Mr. Monroe, they're not talking now about a picture that you can freeze. So if you have facial recognition where we have a shooting here and we query the system and it says the person who shot the person is at the podium at the OPM press office and they come and pick me up, when they sit me down at some point, since the evidence is the original recording, they will look at the original recording and say, oh, that's not Monroe. He said, I will be inconvenienced by having been arrested on suspicion, but being arrested on suspicion and being held up to 48 hours is a part of the price we pay for living in a free, democratic, orderly society. Comma, he goes on, I want to put that on record and just say, Mr. Monroe, we all know that a regular, ordinary Bahamian will not be treated in the same way that someone who is picked up at the podium at the OPM's office will be treated.
They get invited to come.
Right. In fact, I doubt anybody would be picked up at the OPM podium. I'm going to not say any of the other words sitting on my tongue right now. Let's go to the next caller. Good morning, caller.
Is that me?
Yes, sir.
Goldie Davis talking away so long with you and Yuri, Erin. We need justice, law, and order in this country. Let me show you something. We cannot get any justice when those people that's in authority, what they're doing is what's the word I want to use here? Recruiting those people from the South to be in the police force.
Raymond, I have never pushed the button on you before, but I am going to push the button on you right now.
Bremen said the people from the South is a problem.
No, Bremen said that they're recruiting them. That's what I want to talk about, Bremen. First of all, you have to be a Bahamian to join the police force. That's simple. You have to be a Bahamian to join the police force. That's the rules.
Bremen concern.
That we live in a society where young men have very few options to legitimize themselves in the eyes of society, and the political class is another thing. A young man becomes a police officer, or he becomes a deacon, or he gets a job where he could wear a tie to legitimize himself as a citizen of the country and an adult male.
Let's squeeze this caller through. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear us?
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, C.A.
Good morning.
Good morning, Erin.
Morning.
How y'all doing, lad?
Good.
How much a helicopter costs, man? You can get a good helicopter for about $5 million or so. Or in the police force already have a helicopter. How could them truck, them Nissan truck get lost in the bottom? The bottom's so jam up. How did you get away from them truck and they be speeding up and down with them truck? How they get lost, them Nissan truck, them 40, up in the bottom area now, little small little corner, West Street area, little juk corner here, traffic, I mean, how they can duck one of them truck? We can't afford a helicopter. If a helicopter is hovering over that area, if you say it's a little green little load or something, they pick up the roof and they can follow that way, everything. So you don't think we better invest in a helicopter?
Look here.
We can invest in drones.
When you say helicopter, I thought it's Rambo. I'm not sure if helicopters are compatible with the tourism product.
It's loud noise.
Yeah, but then you only after the suspect, after that car or that truck would just do this drive-by shooting or strap on two on the ground or arm robbery, the armor truck robbery, and then I could be hovering around every second all day. And before I go, CA and Erin, you all see the legend to the Tampa Bay game, Rick Flair? To the Tampa Bay game, the legend. RG3 get it out of him 3 times. Woo! 3 times he get it out of it. Yeah, he make sure he say it 3 times. All right, yeah, you're thinking with that, man, a helicopter.
Listen, cousin, I can press the button, but you could imagine The police, you can imagine you driving and then all of a sudden there's a helicopter on the sidewalk because somebody had to stop and get lunch. You could imagine.
Lord have mercy. But we have drones. We have drone technology. We could do the same thing. We could follow a whole car. And then we buy a couple $100,000 worth of drones the other day.
Absolutely.
Just use the drones.
Did we buy the training program to train the police to operate the drones?
I don't know. I haven't seen a drone since.
Yeah, that's a very big concern. I want to say thank you to the callers. Mr. Nuri, could I beg you 10 minutes in your hour?
What you want to talk about?
Just I want to read from the article. It's a very interesting article. And there's a little follow-up to it, right? We didn't even really get to, like I said, the article that evoked the question, right, which is detention is price we pay. Monroe says wrongful identification and arrest a potential inconvenience. We haven't delved into the issues that cause us to question whether this is the space in which we want to abdicate rights, right? Like so I just want to just touch briefly, very shortly, for like 5 minutes.
No, I could, my conversation is similar. So dealing with crime. So we could start off with that. I have no problem.
I got a text here. I'm going to change your words slightly. The police force in the Bahamas is they said childish, I'm going to say immature, like it's young, right? Casually sharing crime videos on WhatsApp like high schoolers. Now you want to give them access to my cameras. We need to put stricter policies in place before giving officers this access to information. And I think that's where the greater concern lies, in the force's internal policing and adherence to policies to maintain the integrity of the force itself and the relationship between the force and its most important stakeholders, those who you're asking to give you access to their cameras. Good morning, Bahamas. Government should install cameras on churches and monitor by the police. The other day of a shooting. Now, churches are, in some instances, considered like sanctuary. That's not to say that you don't share information about a crime that has taken place, is about to take place, especially if it's a crime against a person, like molestation, like rape, like sexual assault. But we have to have rules that govern the use, the operation, access to the information, right? So let's go to this break that ends on the clock with Erin Greene. And you guys stay tuned, because Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Nuri is coming up next.